Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the darker side of the moon.
The darker side of the moon. Woo!
And not darkest,
No, the darker.
the darker.
We're going to take you to the darker side.
I'm Destiny Fox, and this is my handsome husband, Michael,
You bet.
and our lovely assistant, Michelle Perez.
Hey,
She's our letter turner.
Michelle is an awesome investigator
She is.
and very known to keep me motivated and pumped up. But I mean, she's raring to go. She always is, but
Very focused when we
we
go on an investigation. Michelle is so focused on getting it.
I'm going to say this at the beginning here. The quickest I can get to a client in Gray, Georgia is April the 11th. And they seriously want to seek help before then because of activity in the home. If there's a paranormal team close to Gray, Georgia, please contact me and let's talk. I swear that's the soonest I can get there. Our schedule is solid. Home, work, kids,
Work.
yeah. And I hate that we've had to try to plan it out that far, but these people need help and they need it ASAP, and I'm not able to get there. Um, Due to the nature of this, I would be available for phone calls or whatever to try to help you out with this, but they're good people. They're just having a rough time.
Yeah.
It's 2.5 hours from where we live.
I really
so
would like to go and help them out.
I want to.
Yes,
That's
I really
what we do, and it breaks my heart that I can't get there.
But, if we can work out something sooner, we'll try. But
Again, any paranormal groups in the area of Gray, Georgia, you are urgently needed. Please call me, email me, destinydfox@gmail.com. Or if we're friends on Facebook, shoot me a message. Or if you have my phone number, send me a text or give me a call.
there you go.
That sounded like one of those late night commercials.
It did,
yeah,
okay?
It did, didn't it?
An infomercial.
Uh-oh. Not that kind of phone call, y'all.
nothing.
6 payments of $19.99.
Well, at least it's the payments and not per minute.
Yeah.
Right. We've got a cool little topic tonight, and it's one Michael knows a lot about, and I think that's part of the reason why we chose it. How many people have had children, and these children say they see things? Matter of fact, that's one thing in
Yes.
Gray, Georgia. Um, a little child is being tormented there, so it does involve a child. Um, there's so much to the story. I don't even know if I filled you in, Michelle, on this one,
No, I know.
but we'll talk sometime tomorrow or Saturday. Um, have you ever had a child that, or a baby in a crib? I remember when my kids were little, they would reach their hands up and just giggle and laugh like they were trying to get somebody to pick them up, or something above them was playing with them.
Oh, yeah.
Now in this stage of my life, I'm wondering, what was my baby playing with? What was playing with my baby? And or your children say they see something, or imaginary friends.
Yeah.
Children are prone to be able to see spirits. And Michael has good explanation for that too. And we'll get to that a little later.
All right.
I have a couple of kids that I'm raising for some friends of mine, assisting with helping them. And the little girl is 8 years old now. She just turned 8 in February, but she sees spirits.
She's a little psychic medium.
Out. Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
I mean, she'll say stuff. I mean, she creeps Dylan out all the time. The things she says and the things that she knows. I mean, when 8-year-olds coming in your room saying, "I think that spirit's malevolent," and I'm like, "What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?" The one I saw, And matter of fact, that's how I met this family. Actually, they were having. Did you leave me, baby?
Man,
They
my
were
dog is
having
getting on my
paranormal
nerves.
activity in their home, and I think little M, the 8-year-old, she was talking to a little boy named Jacob,
Mm.
and she told her family all about Jacob, what he looked like, what he was wearing, the whole 9 yards, everything. And so that she has not grown out of that yet. She's 8, so we haven't got there yet, but she can see spirits.
Yeah. I remember being very little and seeing spirits when I was really small. It was
Mm-hmm.
almost like through my bedroom at night was a freeway for supernatural.
Really?
I constantly, every night, I would see spirits when I was really little. And it got to a point that it was, unnerving me to a point.
I can understand
Because I
that
didn't
being a
understand
kid.
it at that
Yeah.
age. I didn't understand what was going on at that age. And I wish I could have had a better perspective of it.
Exactly.
But a kid's a kid. You just got to deal with what you got. The kids are so in tune to it.
Right. I mean, we're talking about kids that believe in the tooth fairy, Santa Claus,
Hmm.
the whole nine
Yeah.
yards. They don't know how not to believe. I think when we get to a certain age, we kind of cut all that off and say, no, that's not real. It was just my imagination.
Yeah.
I don't ever remember having an imaginary friend.
I don't either.
However, one of my daughters um, was pregnant with twins, and she actually lost one of the babies. And I think you went through that too,
Hmm.
Michelle. And she was still, after everything, she was still having morning sickness, still having cravings. She went back to the doctor, and they're like, "You're still pregnant." So their
She doesn't say
explanation
what.
was she had twins. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
she was shocked about it.
Yeah.
But and we did this case on baby Dixie. Um, as Dixie got a little bit older, maybe 3, 4, maybe not, somewhere around that age, she began to play with her little sister.
Hmm.
And she would walk down the hall just talking and holding hands with something. I mean, her
Hmm.
mom said, you can see her holding something's hand. And she said, it's creeping me out. And she would ask Dixie, who are you talking to? I'm talking to my sister.
Hmm.
And we did an investigation in the home to find out, did baby Dixie have an imaginary friend, or was she really playing with a ghost child? Um, we did another case similar, but we did get evidence in the home. We even got a picture of a little girl sitting on a chair in Dixie's bedroom holding a baby doll.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
We don't still have that picture, but we took it. Baby Dixie had some balloons in her room with no heat. It was cool weather then, with no heat blowing through the vents. Those balloons were responding to our questions.
Yes.
They would move in the direction we asked them to for yes and no answers. Um, they would move around the room. It was like something was responding to us using the balloons. So every question that we asked was yes or no, and it was answering us.
Yeah. Well, I think it was responding. I think, we were in direct contact.
Yeah, we were.
A lot of times when we do cases like that, we can establish a direct contact, and we work with it, try to get them, to communicate with us. Uh, Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. I mean, it's nothing you did good or bad. It's just maybe, the spirits aren't able to do it that night. Because we've gone on cases, repeat cases, where we've gone back in and they're everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So I think, maybe they have some restrictions sometimes, or they just don't have enough energy to manifest this stuff. But with kids, Kids seem to see it all the time. It's like, the veil has been lifted in front of their eyes.
Yeah. Or that they've been closed off to what they feel like is imaginary
Yeah,
at
yeah.
some point.
And it's like Destiny said, I do have uh, a theory on, why that is that we're going to get into a little bit later.
You can go ahead.
You think so?
Yeah, go ahead.
My theory is that kids are able to see and communicate with the spirit world easier than we can, is because their minds have not been clouded with life yet.
Mhm.
And they're not using the pre-notion that's been programmed into us, that spirits don't exist.
Mhm.
So, that doesn't exist with a small child. So they're seeing it, as is for what it is. Now, there is some people out there, that get a little far-fetched with the spirit world. For what I can remember, seeing spirits, it wasn't like some people's described it. Uh, I heard the other day, somebody said, that they were saying, the spirit world is just like the world we live in. They have houses and stores and stuff. And I thought, wow, Dollar General built the spirit world? They
Probably.
build anywhere. I don't believe that. I think that was so far-fetched. I think, the spirit world is totally different than what we experience. And kids are able to be more open to it than we are. So they're actually seeing a lot more than we see.
Yeah. And we've
Right.
talked about before. Go ahead, Michelle.
I was just going to say they have a heightened spiritual awareness,
Yes.
I
Hmm.
believe.
Yeah. And whereas adults, we hear something slide or a bump, we just brush it off.
Make an
When it's
excuse for
actually
it.
been
Oh,
something.
that's the refrigerator kicking on,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But their little minds are more open to it than we are as we get older.
hmm
So it's easier for them.
Right. Um, quite a few years ago now, we did an investigation um, for a girl that I'd known since she was a little girl. And her
Mhm.
situation was the same as my daughter's. She was pregnant with twins and lost one of the babies during the pregnancy, and one survived. So, as her daughter grew, her daughter went through the exact same thing. I mean, everything the same. The first day of school, she was out taking a picture of her daughter. We used to have the photo. Her daughter, beside her daughter, was a little girl with a dress on, just standing there beside her, like, it's my first day of school, too. So here
yeah.
we go. So, what could this be? I mean, once a child passes before it's born,
Uh-huh.
it's impossible for this child to grow as a spirit to match the same age as these children. Hey Charles, how you doing? So that's something that's baffled me. Like every case that we know of that's even similar to this, the child appears to be the same age as the child who is experiencing the paranormal.
The sibling, yeah.
Yeah, the sibling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the spirit child is growing along with its living and breathing sibling.
Or maybe that goes back to something you've said before. Maybe a spirit manifests to appear as
Hmm.
anything.
Yeah. I think so too. I think, spirits have that ability. Now you have to be careful when you're communicating with the spirit world, especially as adults. When we're communicating with the spirit world, we have to be very cautious. We have to be on our guard
hmm
because sometimes we don't know what we're communicating with,
That's true.
and it could be a trickster.
I
But I
have
think,
a teacher that's warned of that
yeah,
in several seminars that he spoke at, he's always said, don't ever, get friendly with who you're talking to on a spirit box
Oh,
or
I
through a
agree.
portal because you don't know what you're communicating with.
Well, he's very knowledgeable, in his field.
Yes, my confidence.
Yes, he has my total confidence too. So when he tells me something, I pay attention because I really feel like, he knows more about it than I do a lot of times. And there is some subjects I know more about, but
Well, I think we all have knowledge of different things.
yeah,
Like my theories, I had to convince you of some things.
yeah.
See, Michael was all like, you don't mind me telling this, I hope. Michael was all like, oh, but that's not how it's gone, step by step. And I'm like,
Oh, by the book.
by the book. And I'm like, what book? So who wrote these books? You've got to experience it on your own because
Mhm.
everything is different. And so finally he began to see, what I was trying to tell him. So he began to explore that and, doing that and not keeping it by the book that somebody wrote, and just stepping out on your own, stepping out of the box. He's experienced so much more. I mean, I don't think there's too much a rule book. Like you've got to do
No,
this, you've got to say that, you've
no.
got to say what was that. I mean, everybody's different, and Michael has come up with so many theories and views on the paranormal. It's amazing.
Hmm.
It really is. All it takes is stepping out of the box a little bit.
Now, there is protocol, say, when you're working up EVPs. I studied under, the most expert EVPs people in the world, and I learned a lot from them. And there is, some protocols on how you work up an EVP, but I don't think there's any protocols on how you communicate with the spirit world.
Well, true, because questions I ask and questions Michelle ask, or Big Ronnie or Youngblood or you, it's all different.
Yeah,
We all have our different approach to it, and I
yeah,
like that.
I do
I
too.
like that because it helps well, okay, in this situation, let's let Michelle and Youngblood
Mhm.
take this part because they're
Mhm.
questioning that they're prone to ask relates to this. But I'm wondering something else. Hey, Big Ronnie, um, have you ever had any experiences with a child spirit
Hmm.
on an investigation or anywhere?
Um, Not really on an investigation, I don't think. I mean, I guess the closest I could think of would be like Old South Pittsburgh, maybe, where there was child spirits that was
Mhm.
there. But just to be able to isolate it down to 100% being a child spirit, I honestly, I can't. I was never given any direct responses that led me to believe without, any shadow of a doubt that this is an actual child we're speaking with.
Yeah.
So honestly, I have not.
My first experience with a
You know
child.
what? Let's back it up.
Okay, go ahead.
The one in Carrollton where we did capture the child actually looking like it was holding on to me on the I just lost my train of thought on the camera that shows you the
In
stick
the upstairs,
figures.
the
The
SLS.
SLS.
Yeah, there we go. I'm like, I know
Yeah,
it's letters,
girl.
but that is the only one that I can honestly think of that yes.
Yeah, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
I do remember that. The same investigation that I talked about where the girl took a picture of her daughter first day of school and the spirit child was right there beside of her. Michael and I mean, power lines everywhere on this property,
Yeah.
all down the road. I remember it's probably not a dirt road anymore, but it was somewhere just outside of Noonan. I think the address was actually Franklin, Georgia. But we ride on down the road, and of course, we saw an old cemetery right on the corner.
Oh yeah, I
And
remember
so we
that.
pulled over there and just to pass time. I think it was because we were a little bit early getting to the client's
We
house.
were.
So, we rode past it, trying to get a feel. The first thing we saw were the power lines. So we're like, oh, okay, that could intensify things. But we got out at that cemetery and I had Michael's dowsing rods. And so we're in that cemetery and I'm close to a grave that I think could have been a child's grave. I'm not sure. I'm holding the dowsing rods like right out in front of me. Something reaches up and it's pulling the dowsing rod down and it's tugging in my hand. You can see it, right here in the bend of my hand. You could see it indenting, going down. It was pulling with a little force.
Yeah, it was.
And then that's where that what I'm assuming was child spirit wrapped its arms around me and was holding me. So that was my first experience with a ghost child. Did you fall off the bed?
I had to kick this dog out, so she might start howling. And if she does, then I'll go get her. But she's driving me up the wall.
Okay,
Sorry,
she's back.
I'm here.
The next time that I had an experience with a child, well, Michael and I both, um, my oldest daughter and a friend of hers, and Michael and myself were down at the local cemetery, not the one behind our house, but one down the road and to the left.
Oh, with the four-way.
Yeah.
Okay.
That one down there, we were out there one evening and we had a motion light
Hmm.
set up at a tree. We're not there long because there's houses there, and we don't want to be disrespectful to the people who live around it. So, we were there just a little while, and Michael said, well, we need to pack it up and go. It's time for people to go to bed, and we don't want to be out here that late. So I go to reach for that motion light, and just as I go to pick it up, it goes flying out across from the tree. And I'm like, Michael, that's my famous thing.
Yeah, it
If
is.
something happens like that, Michael, come here. Um, and then we left after Michael got the motion light because I wasn't about to try to pick it up again. Oh, the next morning when we woke up, there were child handprints all over the car in the dust, like everywhere.
Oh yeah, there was. There was little handprints on the dust on the outside of the car.
Matter of fact, when we were leaving there, that might have been when we went out there alone this
It was.
particular
Yeah,
time.
we were out alone.
When we're leaving, it's like the hair was standing up on my arms and I had chills. And I said, there's something in the back seat with us. It thinks it's going with us. And immediately, we started saying anything we could to tell that spirit, you have to go back. You have to go back. You can't go with us. You have to go back. And then it was the next morning that we had all the little handprints.
Yeah.
And then, dealing with the little girl ghost that we were just talking about. Now I'm wondering if that's her that we have here that followed us from a long time ago.
Hmm. Possibly.
I thought about that
I just thought about
too.
that though. But Lord,
Yeah, it could have been. It
Yeah.
really could have been. Uh, spirits do have sometimes they have an attachment themselves. They want to attach themselves to an individual because they're feeling the life force and they're drawn back to that life force.
Well, I do remember one more, and it was the one in Tuscaloosa where I did capture the
yes,
little girl calling out for her mother on the EVP.
right, right.
Huh. Yeah, those are interesting catches too. Uh, but we have so many over the years where we've investigated, and we do have a a little bit of experience investigating child spirits.
Right, right.
Uh,
And Charles brought up something good here. He said, I've heard this a few times that sometimes a demonic spirit will come out as a child.
mhm.
I myself have never had any experience. Well, yeah, because think about it. The first thing a demon has to do is gain your trust.
Mhm.
Then, who are you going to trust? A child? There's people that, all of a sudden, well, we've got a little child spirit here. Let's put out some cookies and
Oh
milk and a
yeah.
few stuffed animals for her or
Yeah.
him. Let's treat it like the child that it is. And a lot of times they are not entertaining a child spirit at all. They're entertaining a demon.
Hmm.
And it's very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Um, that's why a lot of times when something is going on in our home, which is frequent, not as much as it used to be, but we still have stuff go on. Um, a lot of times it's ignored. I'll be like, "Did you see that, Michael?" He said,
Hmm.
"Yeah, I seen that." So it's kind of like we don't want to acknowledge it because the more you acknowledge a spirit in your home, you don't want to say, "Who are you?" You don't want that to turn into a paranormal investigation,
Right.
which is something that we highly avoid at all
Rule
costs.
number one, basically.
And then we
Don't
find that
investigate your home.
that seems to make it not be as active, or in most cases it goes away.
Yeah.
I don't have it as much living here on the old family property as I did when we lived in our home in Temple, Georgia. In Temple, we had traveling little spirits come through.
Yeah.
And I tell Michael, we have somebody new here. He said, I thought it felt different in here, and a day or two later he'd say, is it still here? And I'll be like, yeah, it's still here. It's still here. And
Yeah.
then like the next day he'll say, is it gone yet? Yeah, it's gone. I don't feel it anymore. He said, good. And that happened all the time over there, but not so. I don't even think it happens at all. I think the things we have here are possibly spirits that follow us from other places home, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know
Maybe.
for sure, but
Now talking about what Charles was talking about, um, what you got to keep in mind too is even if a demonic spirit takes the form of a child to try to win your trust, pay attention to what you're looking at because it cannot form a complete human body.
right, right.
There's going to be a defect in it somewhere.
Right, right. Because when you think about it, the steps to being possessed, the first step is a haunting,
Uh-huh.
then oppression, and then possession. I mean, that you have to be so careful. So don't entertain those spirits.
Mm-mm.
Well, Lorraine Warren said once, don't even start a conversation with one if you suspect it to being on the dark side.
Right.
And that's good advice, but a lot of people don't take that advice. But and then
Well,
they get in trouble.
it's hard to distinguish. Well,
It
what's
is.
good, what's bad.
Mhm.
There's not a
Are you
meter yet
really a child?
been invented yet that you can say, are you a good spirit or a bad spirit?
Right.
If it pegs out, it's a bad spirit.
Right.
If it's green, it's good to go. We have to use our common sense.
That's why it's so dangerous. That there is psychic mediums out there that are genuine.
Yes, there are a
But
lot. We have friends that we know for a fact are.
yes, but you've got to be careful when you have a psychic medium that's not really a psychic medium, and they start trying to deal with these entities that they don't know if they're human or demonic. They could be in some big trouble.
Absolutely. Good evening, young blood. Nice of you
So
to drop in.
that could be on the dangerous side right there, because if they're not able to channel and communicate like a genuine psychic medium can, this entity could take control of them pretty easily.
I never thought of that.
So it's dangerous. There's a lot of situations in the paranormal that it's really dangerous that we walk into, but we've done it for so long. we could usually tell the difference. Uh, Years ago, we had it set up. Uh, if Destiny for 1 second thought that it was demonic during the investigation, all she had to do was say the word, and we'd pull the whole team out.
And regroup. That
Yes.
that was the whole purpose of
Yes.
that is to regroup because we're going in as paranormal investigators. We've got on the Fox Paranormal hat, and so we're in there, and then things start turning dark, and you realize that you're not just communicating with Aunt Joan sitting in the rocking chair rocking.
Right.
You've run into something very dark. I mean, it's time to go out and regroup and get a new strategy going.
And you got to be able to tell the difference too, because sometimes it may not be a demonic spirit. It may not be a human spirit. It could be an earthly spirit.
Right. And I'm proud to say this, that every team member that we have now has had an experience with demonic entities.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're not strangers to it at all. We don't have anybody on the team that would have to say, okay, this is getting really deep. You need to go home so you don't get hurt. There was a time when we had team members that we knew couldn't handle this and would send them home.
Yeah. I mean, there's been so many times over, the years where you have somebody go in for amateur hour to be a paranormal investigator and they get themselves in trouble. And next thing you know, our phone's ringing. You got to help us. You got to help us. Well, you shouldn't have put yourself in that situation to begin with.
Nope.
Right. Charles says a few times since Sunshine passed, and I'm sitting on the porch. Sometimes I hear whispers, but I can't understand it. Sometimes I'll say, I love you, Sunshine, and it stops.
Yeah.
I was thinking about you so much yesterday. Yesterday was the anniversary date that his daughter Sunshine passed away, and I love you. I really do, Charles. You're my brother. I promise you, you're a brother. I prayed for you and kept you in my heart all day long. Pain never stops when you lose somebody. It never stops. You learn to cope with it a little bit better as time goes on, but it never stops hurting. Never.
No, it doesn't. It never
really
stops
doesn't.
hurting.
I have. I don't know if she's listening to this or not. I have a client of mine at work, and her son's father passed away recently in a car accident in Villarica, and I'm trying to pretty much try to convince her that reaching out to him is not good, but I do feel like he's trying to, because there's a thin line in, I don't know how to explain this. We don't do necromancy,
No.
and if she expects us to call forth his spirit, no, it doesn't work that way. If he's there with her,
We can communicate
can-
with what's already there.
we can.
We
Yeah.
cannot call a spirit from the grave to come talk to us.
I wouldn't even attempt it if
No.
I had the power.
No.
They're at rest. It just can't do that.
It's not like you're going to go in, sit down and do a seance and have everybody join hands and say, okay, Aunt Ethel, are you here? Can you come to us? Well,
Can you come from the grave and
yeah.
talk to us? No, we don't do that.
No.
Yeah, bingo, Charles. Bingo.
For one thing, when you're doing that, you're opening yourself up to the demonic side, because a demonic spirit can see that as an opening for them.
You think? Well,
Absolutely.
if you're calling a spirit forth like that, I don't even know how that works. If you're calling it forth, how do you know you're not calling forth a bunch of spirits?
Absolutely.
I always just say, like, is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us? You know, here, right here. Not resting in peace, but didn't make it to that rest. You're still here.
You know, so many people, they talk down on Ouija boards and stuff like that. The Ouija board's a tool,
I talk down on them. I ain't using no Ouija
I ain't
board.
touching
but
that
they're
thing.
still just a tool.
I ain't messing
It's
with
it's the
Ouija
same
board.
theory, you know. People don't kill people, guns kill people. It's the tool and how it's used. And if it's used properly, it's a different story. If it's used improperly, you could get in trouble.
Well, I'm not going to take that chance.
Yeah.
I saw that episode on a haunting, and it didn't turn out too well. So I'm just
Too
going
many
to,
rules. Switch the
yeah,
planchette this
I'm just,
way.
Yeah.
Say goodbye. Don't lift your fingers. That's too much for me to remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
Too many
no, I'm telling
variables.
if I was using a Ouija board and that little planchette went flying across that board by itself, I'm like, I'm gone. I am out of here.
But you got YouTubers making tons of money now on that crap
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah. And they're
because
all
people don't understand what they're looking at.
right.
To be
Well,
honest
people
with you.
like the thrill, you know, and that's what it is. People like to be thrilled and entertained. So,
Yeah. But it's not real.
well, it doesn't matter.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, you're either a serious paranormal investigator or you're an enthusiast.
Right.
You can't be one and not the other. You got to pick one or the other. And there is some really, really, really good paranormal investigators out there.
Right, right.
Really good ones. We
Speaking of
know a lot of them.
paranormal investigators, I've been watching the Paranormal Files all day with Colin.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
He some episodes are very, very good that him and his father did. I was very
Some
impressed. I
are.
can't think of his last name. We met him in Vegas. He did a
Yeah.
little thing on our box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Um, God, we met so many people. Um, too many bad things happened with one of those things. I agree with Charles.
Yeah, it's true. It is. It's not a good idea to use stuff like that.
Right, right.
You
But
don't know
I
how to
get
use
your
it.
point. Like, we're using a K2.
Mm-hmm.
If there's anyone here, can you communicate with us? And pretty much, I understand what you're saying. I really do. But that's a risk that I'm not willing to take.
It's no different when people do the flashlight thing. You're using that flashlight to communicate with them.
Mm-hmm.
You say, if there's a spirit here, turn that flashlight on. If that's a yes, turn it back off. You're doing the same thing you do with a Ouija board.
Yeah, but that thing spells out death. I think it means it.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, it's still the same thing. I mean, no matter how you dress it up, that dog's still going to be a dog. It's not going to change its species just because you put a dress on
Okay.
it. And when you're using the flashlight in that sense, or you're using the Ouija board in that sense, you're doing the exact same thing with either object.
I have tried the flashlight thing. I can't get it to work.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you, the only time I have ever seen in person the flashlight method, I did not manipulate that flashlight in any kind of a way. I had it sitting, we was at Waverly Hills, and I had it sitting in the OR illuminating a ball, not even within arm's reach of where I was sitting. And it was on, I mean, every question I would ask, it would respond using that flashlight. That dog's in there howling. I'm gonna have to go let her out. She's driving me up the wall, y'all.
Yeah. Well, Tracy,
So, but that was the only time I've ever seen it. Go ahead and answer. I'm gonna go get this dog.
Okay. So what is the proper way to get rid of a Ouija board? Well, I've always heard don't burn them.
no.
If I had one I was trying to get rid of, I would probably put rocks in the box and tape it up and throw it in a river.
Ed Warren said one time, and I watched this show, and he was talking about the proper way to get rid of a Ouija board is you got to separate the board from the planchette. You bury the planchette, and the Ouija board needs to go in living water.
Right. Well, I can understand that because, like the hex box that we have,
Uh-huh.
we keep an object that was in that box separate, and it sort of doesn't cause mischief.
Right.
But we put those together, and then look out, you're going to have some stuff going on.
You know, now,
Every time. Every time.
When he said living water, you got to understand what he meant by living water is running water, like a river.
Mm-hmm.
That's living water. The board you throw into the river, the planchette you'll bury on hollow ground. So they stay separated forever. But you have to separate the two things. And I agreed with Ed Warren on that. I think, that was a very good thought and a very good, advice on how to properly dispose of a Ouija board.
That makes sense.
It does
based on the experience that we've had with the hex box.
Yeah, it does
that
make
makes
sense. It does make sense.
Because you can't really effectively use a planchette without the board.
Right.
So, yeah, that makes
And,
sense.
a lot of people believe once you start using a Ouija board and a planchette, the planchette becomes connected to the board.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah. A lot of people believe that. And Ed and Lorraine Warren actually talked about this years and years and years ago. And that's when, he came up just to separate the two to properly dispose of a Ouija board, where the planchette will never, ever meet the Ouija board again.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But, that's just, a little fact check that I learned over the years. So I do listen to other investigators sometimes because they have some really good ideas.
Charles said, talking about flashlight, make sure you don't shine it in another investigator's eyes. And then he says, sorry, Michael.
I remember that, Charles. I really do. But, you're not the first.
No,
No,
somebody else used to do that all the time.
Yeah.
To Michelle, I think, wasn't it? Every time
Yes.
you put one on, it would go right in your eyes.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, you forget you have them on. I would never wear one like that on my head, but the guys do, and I've seen you do it as well. But when you're talking to somebody, you tend to forget you've got it on.
and then you turn your head and there it is.
Yeah, or whoever you're talking to, and then they're like, Rudolph.
I want to warn people too, not to, even though that we do believe, children have the ability, the special ability to communicate with the afterlife, not to exploit that as an adult. If you have a child that has that ability, don't exploit it and try to use that to your benefit.
Right, like take him on an investigation with us. What do you feel, honey?
Yeah, exactly.
I would never do that.
I think,
never.
That's a stew of trouble you're brewing right there.
I had never thought about it. I wonder how many parents have ever used their child knowing that they had abilities and they were able to see spirits actually take them out to see what they feel and sense. I would be scared to death.
In reality, they're trying
They're
trying to exploit the child's abilities as a child to gain communication with the spirit world.
You talk like you know somebody that did that.
I've heard of that many times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, tell me who it is.
No, but I have
Jessica
heard that over the years
later.
happening. And I personally, I think it's a bad idea. I would never exploit a child in that way. With Destiny and I, when we get cases that involve children, we usually will do them before we'll do any other case because we want to protect the children.
Right. And I want to say this again. Well, Teresa said Stan does it to us with the headlight on his head. It's just a thing.
We're familiar.
Stan probably does it on purpose and then giggles.
Yeah. And we probably have different viewers now than we had before. Again, we have an investigation that involves a child, and we can't get there till April the 11th. But the family really needs help before then, and they're in Gray, Georgia. So if you're anywhere in that area or close enough that you might could go help this family, please contact me. I
Yeah.
believe that's North Georgia. So please contact me. This is urgent. I promise you it is, or I wouldn't keep bringing it up.
Uh,
Can you see other people astral project? Didn't you experiment with that once? Something similar?
long, long, long time ago. I don't remember all of it. Uh, I don't know. I don't ever recall ever seeing anybody astro project, as far as actually seeing them visually.
I know a man that he went to Jamaica and he came back home. A few months later, he got a phone call, and they said, "Oh, it was so good to see you last week. I wasn't there last week." Yes, you were. You stood up and you were talking to the crowds, and several people confirmed that he was actually there and that he was doing a conference and he was talking to the people. And he's like, I wasn't there,
I've heard of that
but
before
he
too.
dreamed he was there. He had dreamed every night that he was in that place in Jamaica talking to crowds of people, but physically he was not there. So that's the closest thing story that I have
Mm.
on anything of that subject.
Yeah, it's really still a frontier area.
Sarah says she asked because she swears she saw it when she was about 12 with her dad and brother. They were sleeping at the time. Okay, so let me see if I got this right. They were asleep, but you saw them.
Mm,
Just let me know because I've got a theory. If you say a certain
yeah,
answer,
uh, I'm going to leave that one up to you.
if yes, okay, they were asleep and she saw them. That falls under the category of doppelganger,
Yeah,
which we've experienced that before. I
Mhm.
was in one place, but Michelle and Big Ronnie actually saw me in another place
Mhm.
walking, then looked down at the monitor on the investigation we were doing, and there I was in a totally different area of the place we were.
Mhm.
So
yeah.
I think that falls under the category of doppelganger.
See, I look at that particular. I remember the situation you're talking about.
We just talked about it last week
Yeah, we
too.
just talked about it last week too. Uh, what I my theory is on that is you're dealing with a trickster spirit.
Yeah, like yeah, another time we did experience that too.
Yeah,
We lived on Hayes Mill Road in Carrollton.
yeah,
My sister lived with us. My sister was in the house, and Michael had just talked to her. He walks in the bedroom door, and she's out of the mailbox.
yeah.
I heard her responding to him, but she wasn't even in the house.
Now that's one person that was very sensitive to the spirit world.
Yeah, my sister,
Yes.
she got the goods when it came to abilities. Before 9/11, my sister said that she had a dream, and in the dream, she saw airplanes running into buildings, and that there were fires, and a lot of people died. Um, Someone I know was taking a trip to Haiti, and she said, "You need to tell them not to go because they're not going to come back
Yeah.
when they're supposed to." And she said, "It's because of the dream I had." Well, uh, when it came time for that trip to end, they were at the airport getting ready to they were getting ready to board the plane, and that's when all flights were canceled. They were stuck out of the country in Haiti because of 9/11.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she was, oh my gosh, she was awesome. She was awesome. Hey, Tammy.
Hey,
Love
Tammy.
you too. She says, hey, Michael and Destiny. Love y'all.
We love you too. We miss you.
Yes, we do. A phone call would be nice.
Yeah. Well, we think the world of Tammy and Jeremy.
We do.
I
We
mean,
do.
they're just very close friends of ours. They're more like family.
They are family.
Yeah, they are family.
They really are.
And we've had, the opportunity. We've been to their house and we've had a blast.
Oh,
We-
and
we
hey,
get-
Michael Cup, how are you doing?
Oh,
Can you see now?
yeah, I'm trying to
He
read.
was catching up on the comments.
I'm trying to read this
I
tiny little
cheat.
print.
I cheat. I don't wait for them to go up there a lot on the screen because I check them on my phone.
She wants to make a
Too.
road trip to us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I want to say hey when you do.
Come to me, Tammy.
Yeah.
Come.
Open arms.
I summon you.
That would be so wonderful.
Yeah.
It would. It'd really be so wonderful.
Let me know way ahead of time and I'll take a couple of days off work.
Yeah, I will too.
We'll go somewhere.
Yeah.
Somewhere cool. We'll go somewhere. You don't want to come here with my screaming young'uns. They'll get on your nerves.
No. Well, we don't want to take them to Atlanta. Not without bulletproof vests.
No.
But yeah, Tammy took us to New Orleans.
Yes, gave us
And
a tour.
that was awesome.
We loved it. We loved
Yeah.
it. Actually, we were going in those voodoo shops trying to
Yeah.
find somebody that knew something about the hex box. We tried
Mhm.
so hard to get information on it, and nobody would talk to us about it. Or they would look at it and then they'd be like, I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know nothing. And then kind of ease back away from it. So they knew something.
Mhm.
They just wouldn't tell us.
She
They
says
just
she wants to
wouldn't tell
come
us.
just to chill.
Okay.
You just come on and chill. Yeah, that was weird when we were walking through New Orleans and we were trying to get information on the hex box. And a lot of them kept referring us to this top priestess in voodoo, but we never could connect with her, I guess.
I don't know. Because they probably wanted money.
Yeah. But they all seem like they recognized the doll when they would see it.
What about premonition and it comes true? Lord have mercy. I am the world's worst at that.
Yeah, you
or
are.
best. I can feel something's about to happen. I just 2 weeks ago told Michael something was going to happen, and yesterday it happened. It happened almost exactly like I said it would.
Yeah.
Almost exactly.
We do that a lot.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. And you have premonition dreams.
I do.
I do the dreams also.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do a lot of dreams.
Yeah. Both of you do, I think.
Yeah, we're dreamers.
Yeah.
We are.
You two are so much alike sometimes it scares me.
A and B.
Yeah.
Like we'll say the same things all the time at the same time.
And it drives him up the wall.
Yes,
You
it
got that right.
causes Destiny 1 and Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Then one day he said, y'all are like thing 1 and thing 2. And I'm like, you're thing 3.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, be careful when you're dealing with children in investigations. I mean, I would say treat them with kid gloves, but seriously, you do need to.
Now, talking about premonition and the area of dreams. Big Ronnie has developed this.
Yeah, he has.
He really has. And I guess it's something new that happened over the past 2 or 3 years, but he can dream something and it comes true. And like, he just knows things now that he used to not know or be able to tell people about. It's kind of crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he
Bubba
has.
scares me.
Yeah, he seems to have tapped into it quite a bit here
Yeah.
last couple
And
few
then
years.
then one day he called me and he said, "I'm not trying to scare you or anything, but I had a dream.
Yeah.
Somebody close to you passed away." And I'm like,
Mm.
I did hear about somebody passing away.
Is that when you upped my life insurance?
I have got enough life insurance on you that I'm going to be grieving in Hawaii for a long, long time.
Yeah, or I'll be gone, so I don't care.
You know, you'll be springing the trip, baby.
Yeah. I mean,
What a better place to grieve.
a lot
I
of people
mean,
get mad about that, but I'm thinking, when you're dead, you're dead. So why do you care? I'll be wherever
if
spirits
I
go.
know you, you're going to be right there with me,
Oh yeah,
keeping an eye on
I'll be
me.
the bump in the night.
Yep.
Promise.
If that's my destiny to continue on in existence, I'm not sure, and nobody's been able to prove that. You know, everyone becomes a spirit. I don't know that. I do know what the Bible says. The Bible says that, God breathed the spirit into Adam and Eve. And when you die, the spirit separates from the body.
I don't know. It's a mystery. That's why we investigate.
Ronnie says he'll be right beside Destiny in Hawaii.
Yes. There'll be enough money for that.
Yeah.
We might come back broke, but we'll have a good 6 or 8 months there, I promise.
Goodness.
Yeah. She'll be spending all that New Jersey money.
Yeah, because I've got a pretty large policy, and if it's an accident, it pays double too. And I pray every day for Michael. I really do. I'm saying all this jokingly, but I've been thinking about that a lot. I saw a post last night that, and it confirmed what I told you. Michael is my home.
Hmm.
You know, he's my go-to. He's my protector. He's also the one to yell at when I'm mad. And
At anybody, I get it.
yeah, no matter who I'm mad at, he gets fussed at. Or, if I'm hurt, he's the one that listens to me cry. Um, he's just my person. And I can't think of going through life without him. I
No.
really can't.
No.
He is just my person. He belongs to me. He's
Yep.
mine, my person. My person.
Well, hopefully that'll never happen.
No, it won't.
No. But I would like
I
to
think I
know.
heard a country song about something like
Oh, I'm
this.
sure you might have wrote it.
Possibly. I've got so many half-written songs.
Yeah.
Well, it has been a cool hour. I
It's been a
promise
fun
you.
hour.
Yes, yes.
I've been enjoying it.
I have too. I
I mean,
really
I can
have.
carry on this conversation forever.
Yes. Endless. It's endless. Absolutely endless.
Oh, thank you, Tammy.
Yeah, he is one of a kind. He is amazing. He puts up with me. And so that makes him even more amazing because I would have left me a long time ago.
Yeah.
I would have.
Tammy's one of a kind too.
Yes, she is.
I have so much respect for her.
I know you do. You do.
Yeah. She's a tough lady.
She is.
Yeah.
I'm scared of her.
I'm not scared of her. I just respect her.
I've heard her get mad before. No, I'm just playing. They're good people. They really are. Good people.
They are very good people.
Big Ronnie said, "That's so sweet.
Yes.
That's so sweet."
Big Ronnie's our uh, team manager, and he's been awesome. He's been with us a long time.
He's looking forward to retirement so he can get back active with the team.
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell he's missing it. Um, we did an awesome show Tuesday night, and he dropped in for that. We were guests on Spooky Things with Debbie right here on the Web Radio Network, and it was good. Yeah, I was going to say that, but I didn't say it, Tammy. And
I'm not going to say anything.
everyone knows it's hard to put up with this. Yeah, it really is. Y'all have all seen my temper, and I have a bad one. I really, really do. And I try not to, but I do. I blame it on anxiety. Or maybe it's a demon spirit. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? But we did have fun on Spooky Things with Debbie. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And, it wasn't one specific subject. We just jumped in there and we talked about everything. And that podcast is still available right here on the Web Radio Network. And if you're listening on one of our pages where I shared this, go to Web Radio Network. There's some good podcasts there.
Yeah.
The Darker Side of the Moon with us. There's Amy Farley has a show there.
Amy Farley.
Yes. And a couple more people. Mercedes. She's awesome and amazing, and we love Mercedes.
Mercedes is one of a kind.
So, I mean, you can watch any kind of podcast you want there.
Yeah,
and
Mercedes
is fun.
She's awesome.
It's fun.
We had an opportunity to talk about our show that we're on tonight, and we touched base. Down the road we're going to be talking about elementals. We're going to be talking about urban legends. And we're going to be trying to do some remote broadcasting. So, hang in there with us, and I guarantee you're going to end up enjoying the show.
Hey, Richard, how have y'all been? Well, we have spent I think we went an hour and a half with Debbie. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
But, guys, it's time for us to say goodnight. I've got to go make sure 2 little children are tucked away in bed and asleep, ready for school tomorrow. And Michael has to get up 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, work day, but it's Friday. Yay!
Tomorrow's Friday. TGIF.
Yeah, Friday.
Yes.
I get a weekend off this time. Yeah, I've worked two weeks in the past 2 weeks. I've had 1 day off. So have you.
And a heck of a paycheck. So.
Yeah.
He had to work Saturday last week at time and a half. And I was like, yeah, baby, you go to work.
I did too.
When he sent me the thing, he clocked out. I'm like, oh, man, I was keeping up with those hours.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'd rather have you home with me anyway.
Yeah.
Well, next week we have a great guest. We're going to have Letriana Brown with us.
Doing well.
That's good. So we have Letriana Brown next week, and you've got to get with her.
Yeah, I've got to get with her.
With you. So, guys, till next week, be sure to tune in with Michael, myself, and Michelle, and I think Big Ronnie will be with us too. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be so much fun.
We're going to bring it up a notch, I think.
Yeah.
I think every week.
Great guests, great team helping us out.
And
Awesome.
Destiny's got some stuff under the table. She's working on get us some other guests too that I'm not going to mention their names because you guys are going to be really surprised.
Oh yeah. Well, I had one turn me down already, so but let's see. I'll be. They don't do interviews anymore right now, but I've already dreamed it, so it's going to happen. Until next week, guys. We love you. Peace and love.
Good night.
Bye, Michelle.